Thank you for staying here on Joy News Desk. It's now time to bring you some updates on that particular story we brought you yesterday about one woman named Aisha Huang at the center of some galamsey activities somewhere in the Ashanti region. Let's now speak to the Public Affairs Director of the Ghana Immigration Service, Francis Pamdeti. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
What is the latest with regards to these 5 Chinese people, including Aisha Wang?
From yesterday, as you rightly hinted, we had them in our custody. They are still in our custody. We intend sending them to court today. We also want to make sure that we do not breach the Constitution by holding them beyond 48 hours. We need the court to give us the permission to hold them further to finish with our investigation.
Okay, Mr. Pamdeti, if I get you right, you're taking them to court today, praying the court to allow you keep them in your custody for further investigations. Is that it?
Yes, that's correct.
And a lot of people wonder how these Chinese nationals are able to come into the country and be able to go as far as places in the Ashanti region to be able to perform such activities on the blind side of authorities. What is the plan, the strategy? When I know that when these people come into the country, especially when they fly into Kumasi, their passports are looked at, their papers are looked at. But once they get into the hinterlands, how does the immigration service monitor their activities?
Your question started from the premise as to how are these people coming and are able to move in and get out there. The point is, with immigration rules generally, once a traveler fulfills the conditions of arrival, as it were, and there are no issues as in the person being a wanted person or a person being on a terrorist list or one list of an intelligence agency, etc., and has met the conditions for arrival, the person is admitted. Now, when the person is admitted, the person is admitted on the basis that all the documentation we have received and the purpose of visit, etc., are all indicated in good faith. Because you cannot find the mind's construction on the faith. So you admit them. Now, when they come into the country, whatever enterprise or whatever business they intend to engage, once it is lawful, we do not have an issue with that. And we have quite a number of foreigners in the country engaging in lawful business. But for those who come in to break our laws, obviously, they will not come telling you that their intention is to come in to break your laws. You only will find them breaking your laws and then you arrest them. So as we speak, we have our enforcement agencies in the various regions. But if you look at our numbers in terms of the number of officials we have on the ground, they are not that many. And security services are not, their numbers are not, adequate all the time.
So you're challenged?
No, I mean, it's a general situation with all security services. Even in America, with the sophistication, the technology and all that, they claim they have over 11 million illegal migrants in their country.
All right.
What I'm saying is that we would need to depend on the commitment and the patriotism of our citizens in those hinterlands and in those areas to tip us off. In this particular case, a good citizen tipped us off in Obuasi, and that's how come we're able to arrest him.
All right, quickly, Mr. Pamdeti, before you leave, the woman at the center of this, Aisha Huang, we hear is married to a Ghanaian. Is she being treated in this case as a national or an international person?
No, even though she's married to a Ghanaian, her immigration status is, we have a permit which is called the indefinite residence status. And she obtained that by virtue of having fulfilled the legal requirements for that. And the fact that she's also married to a Ghanaian. It doesn't change her citizenship. She's not a Ghanaian.
Okay.
What she has is a permit to stay indefinitely.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for your time. Francis Pamdeti is with the Ghana Immigration Service, and he speaks for them as well. Away from this issue, the Gender Ministry and stakeholders are holding a review program on the Affirmative Action Bill. Let's go live to the Fiesta Royal Hotel, where the minister is addressing the gathering.
that the emancipation of women has taken, and to bring us to this point where we are actually reviewing the Affirmative Action Bill to pass it to law, the various committee members, I'm most grateful for this opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, successive governments over the years have tried to put in place mechanisms to enhance the participation of women in all aspects of decision-making in Ghana. However, these have not yielded the significant results intended. If anything, the little gains women have had have largely been eroded due to factors beyond their control. It has therefore become necessary to go beyond the rhetoric, go beyond the talk, go beyond the prejudices and cliches, and acknowledge that with the existing gender inequality in the public and private sphere, there is the need to take drastic measures to correct this imbalance, because gender stereotyping, which dates back to antiquity, cannot be changed without implementable legislation. In this instance, the drastic measure in place is an affirmative action law in Ghana. As the speaker said, Ghana has been running around with one leg tied. And unless we untie the leg of the women, it will be difficult to run the race of global affairs. I keep saying that if Eve had not asked Adam to eat the apple, we would all be running around naked. That is the intuition that God gives to women, that we see things that men don't. We are interested in things that men are not. And we, as the special vessels of creation, have a very critical role in the development of the home, of the community, of the district, and of the nation. You cannot leave any woman behind or leave women out. And our society, being patrilineal, being patriarchal, seems to have become male dominant. And even in parliament, we have only 37 women now out of the 275. And from the speaker's research, I see that Ghana is at about 150 on the table out of about 190, with Rwanda being at the top. If others can do it, and we keep boasting of being the black star of Africa, the time has come for us to walk our talk. The role of gender in national development cannot be underestimated. And the concerted effort that we all are going to bring to bear today will ensure that forever, Ghana will change its way of addressing the issues of gender. Our efforts must encourage and discourage the imbalances. We must ensure that no woman is behind. We want to see women side by side, not men in front and not women behind, but side by side. Together, we shall develop Mother Ghana. Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished guests, gender equality, equity, and the empowerment of women and girls continuously faces all these myriad of challenges. And some of them include inequality in access to social protection by the marginalized, vulnerable, and the poor, inequalities in the burden of extreme poverty, education, skill training, and excess maternal mortality, unequal access to social economic power and justice, including lack of respect for and inadequate protection and promotion of human rights of women, inequalities between women and men in the sharing of power and decision-making at all levels and in dealing with all kinds of conflicts and insecurities and threats on women. That is why somebody will think that because he is a man, he must decide how we develop the processes of re-engaging school feeding caterers, because Ghana is a man's world. We must change all these perceptions of women. Inequality in macroeconomic realities, trade, industry structures and productive resources, stereotyping and persistent discrimination against women that manifests in negative gender relations and value for gender roles and responsibilities, with severe implication for maternal health and mortality. To ensure the sustainable implementation of the provisions in the policy, the ministry, with key stakeholders and development partners, developed the Affirmative Action Bill to be passed into law. The bill, when passed into law, will enable all stakeholders to have common understanding of the issues and strategies for addressing gender inequality and issues of social injustice. The bill, therefore, articulates development priorities from gender perspective based on current challenges and Ghana context analysis. The bill will also ensure that women and men, the marginalized and the vulnerable, have a voice, and they can participate and benefit equally from government's coordinated program of economic and social development policies in the short, medium, and long term. This meeting provides us all with the opportunity to review the draft bill for resubmission to Cabinet. And I want to encourage all of us that we must leave no woman out. No woman can wait. No vulnerable person can wait. Time cannot wait. The government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is committed, and that is why we are here today. And we are reiterating the promise in the MPP manifesto that the Affirmative Action Bill must be passed into law. We must develop a roadmap for the passage of this bill. We must ensure that we have an effective implementation plan to ensure that when it gets to Parliament, it will not take 10 years. It must be passed now. So let us finish this for today's woman, for tomorrow's girl child, for all the women and the vulnerable in this great country, so that you and I will be part of that process that made it possible for tomorrow's children not to be faced with these imbalances. It cannot be talk as usual. It cannot be business as usual. We must affirm, we must be drastic, and we must take Ghana along with us. Thank you, and have a very fruitful discussion.
You just had Gender Minister Otiko Afisa-Jaba, and while she's together with stakeholders are discussing the Affirmative Action Bill, she says that gender stereotypes can't be changed without the backing of legislature, and she thinks that the Affirmative Action Bill will do the job, and she adds that there must be an effective implementation plan ahead of waiting for this bill to be passed. And she concludes by saying it must be passed now. Away from the Fiesta Royal Hotel and Affirmative Action conversation, the Ridge Hospital is this morning handing over the exhumed remains of a 52-year-old man to its family after it was wrongfully claimed by another family and buried over 2 weeks ago. The family over the weekend held the funeral rites of the late Michael Okechre without his body. After reporting the incident to the police, the family said it was directed to go to the court to demand the exhumation and reburial of their deceased relative. This morning, the family is at the Ridge Hospital at the behest of hospital authorities to be given the remains for reburial. On the phone and to join us, Zarina Mandi, for the latest development on the story. Good morning, Zarina.
Hi, Bennett.
Tell us what's happening at the hospital now.
So the family members are still around. They are patiently waiting to get the body. I can't confirm that the hospital is getting ready to give the body to the family. That they are hesitant to speak to the press because they feel it has been in the light for some time now. And I spoke to the hospital administration, and they also told me that they do not want to disclose a lot of information because they are still handling the issue with the police. So I can confirm, yes, that the body has been exhumed and the hospital is preparing the body.
So, Zarina, what about this other family that wrongfully given the body of Mr. Okechre? Have you seen?
So I haven't seen any other family around here, and it looks like because of the issue that has been on the ground. The hospital authorities are trying so hard to prevent the press from talking to people around here, especially people who are inside the mortuary. So we have not been given access to the mortuary. We just had to stand around and hang around to see if we could get people to talk to. So I haven't had an opportunity to interact with the family of the other family in question.
Okay, right. Thank you for the update, Zarina Amandi, my colleague, coming to us from the Ridge Hospital. There you're watching Joe News Desk with me, Benis Abubedo. It's now time for business news. Emmanuel Abuajarafi is here, and we'll bring you the latest shortly.